Welcome to Chai with Ping. This is Ping Robert. In this podcast, I cover immigrant stories, cross-cultural experiences, and minority issues. Join me with a cup of chai and take a listen. Are you feeling okay? Too hot, too warm? Okay. All right, I'm gonna do an intro. Welcome back to Chai with Ping, and my name is Ping Robert. Thank you so much for tuning in my show. And then today, before our episode, I will still say the same thing, that you can subscribe or follow our show, and then you will get a notification before every new episode is released. And also, I'm available on Facebook or Instagram. Email is also in the episode notes, so feel free to chat with us and leave your comments on Apple Podcast, and then a 5-star review on Spotify. All right, enough of that. Today we're gonna have a returning guest. She shared her stories from Myanmar to Thailand and to the US. So I'll put the episode note there for you to listen to it if you haven't heard her stories. Today we're gonna focus more on her stories of having depression. So let's welcome Pawku.
Hi.
Welcome back, Pawku. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me back here. I'm feeling good. Yeah. But also I feel like, I don't know, like depression is so big. I can feel the overwhelming on me now.
Yeah.
I feel like, but I'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk a little briefly, because some of the listeners haven't heard about your background.
Yeah.
So you were born in Burma at that time, but now it's Myanmar.
Yes.
And then you are from the Korean tribe. Mm-hmm. So that's a different language, right? And culture. Mm-hmm. There are so many different tribes in Myanmar.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Many, yes.
Wow. And then, do you know how to speak Burmese?
I learn and read and write the language, but when I came to USA, I forgot them. Oh. It's like a baby language for me, yes.
Okay. And then, so you speak purely Korean at home?
I speak Korean, yes.
Do you read and write Korean? Is there a script?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. So you were educated in Korean?
In refugee camp, yes.
Okay.
We learn our own language.
Yeah. And then when did you guys all move to Thailand?
1997, when I was 4.
Wow.
Yes.
And then you have 3 brothers, you and your younger sister.
Yes, that's right.
5 kids. So your brother must be like what, a teenager when you guys moved?
Yes. I believe so.
How many years between you and your oldest
two,
brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe maybe 11. My oldest one be oldest brother. Maybe like 11 or 12 around that time. Yes.
Yeah. Every 2 years, your parents had a new baby.
2 or 3 years. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And so all of you guys, so that will be 5 kids, 2 parents, 7 people all moved to Thailand.
Yes.
And were you assigned to a refugee camp, or you guys need to find one for your own?
I don't think we were assigned. So several were happy in Burma, and we cannot live there, and we had to get out, we ran, and we end up in Thailand because Thailand is the border, and they don't want to accept us because we're not their citizen, and we can't go back because we'll die. There's like shooting, so they don't have any choice. So they're like, okay, this is in the border, make your home, I don't remember this because I was younger. I was 4, but my parents would say that how do you say it? There's a lot of bushes, still tree and plants in the ground.
Were you in a forest?
Up in the mountain.
So it's like a wild land.
So we had to. My parents had to cut the space for us for ourselves, and we like stay there, sleep there, eat there, and built our own tent. Yeah, that's how. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys didn't live with a lot of resources. You guys have to figure it out. And then you also mentioned that you guys couldn't go out of the refugee camp because?
So we are not their citizen. We don't have like a permit or we don't know the language. So maybe that's why. And we're refugees. So I I am thankful that they accept us, that they still give us a place to live, and I see that like there is pros and cons for accepted refugee, and now I get it why they are not letting us out, and it's just for security reasons, and we can't go out, but we sneaked out, me and my dad.
You guys sneaked out because for what? For work?
For work, because we were starving in refugee camp. We don't have enough food. We have rice and chili, and I'm really thankful for that. But we eat like 3 times a day. I was stomach grind like 24/7. So we need more than what they give us, and that's why my dad had to sneak out of refugee camp, walk a few hours, and work for this Thai guy, and that's how he got money for this Thai guy, and he came back to refugee camp, and that's how he feed his family. He feed us, and sometimes he doesn't get paid, but whatever people give him, he had to take it, just so that every bit of it will help us out.
So when you guys were all in the refugee camp for how many years?
I lived there 10 years.
10 years, yes. But there was no job. And food were given to you? Or?
Yeah, like a United Nations, they would bring like rice. I think it's United Nations. I don't know. They would bring rice like once a month for us. But it's not enough.
It's not enough, especially you guys have 5 kids.
Yes. Yeah. But I think they're doing the best they can. Yeah. And that's how we survive each year.
If your family is struggling, but what about other families? Did they also sneak out?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So many people sneaked out.
Oh yes, every single day. The worst thing is that they got caught, and security over there who guard the refugee camp, they would beat them up really bad. But me and my dad, we never get caught. Thank God, because like as a kid, I prayed so much, like God, please protect us, and it is scary. But thank God, we never got caught.
Help me to understand what will be in the refugee camp. You have your own school and
we have
stores?
A school, store, store where Thai people will connect with the security in the gate, and they let them come in and sell stuff that in refugee camp. Yeah, stuff like that.
What about your school things like books and stationery, pen, and all that?
Yeah, they give it to us. And also, I have a cousin who sneaked out of refugee camp, and they would go to Thai school, and they would brought back school supplies. And if I don't have enough, then I would go to them for school supplies.
Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
And then you guys will buy clothes from those Thai vendors.
Yeah, they came and sell stuff. If we have money, then we buy for it. Yes.
Wow. Okay. 10 years.
10 years, yeah. A long time, my
Very
whole life.
long, yes. And then when you were 14, you came to Colorado.
When I was 14, I came to Texas first.
Okay.
So we lived there for a few months, and then we moved to Colorado because my mom has sister who live in Colorado.
Yeah.
So that's how we moved here.
So listeners, if you don't know Pawku's full story, so I'll put the title down in the episode notes, so please feel free to listen to her previous episode. But today we're gonna focus more on your depression. How did you first realize you had depression?
I first realized it. It was something that it does come to my mind, like. I think maybe I'm depressed. Then my mom was like, no. And then I would see commercial on TV talk about how depression and the symptom, and it take this medication, call this doctor. And then in my mind, I would be like, oh, maybe I have depression. But then it didn't really convince me until I went to college, until I am in college. In college, I found myself that like, I think a lot. Time went by so fast. I don't get any of my homework done, my stuff done that I need to get done. Yeah, I was so unhappy.
Did you cry a lot?
I didn't cry. I just think a lot for me, and I was very mute. I don't talk much.
Yeah. Did you feel tired? Because
very
lot of depressed
tired.
people feel tired.
And I sleep a lot too.
Yeah.
Yes.
But just never seem to be enough.
Oh yeah, never enough. I can sleep forever, day and night.
Wow,
oh my gosh.
Okay.
My body like physically so tired.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so then how did you actually get yourself out of the bed because you are so tired all the time?
It is hard. I think that that time I used to work at a restaurant, so I think I had to wake up early.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't know how, but somehow I did, like in the morning. I did get myself up, but then after I work or after I came back for school, then I couldn't get my stuff done. Like when I tried to do my homework, all like that, I would just pass out. Like I would just pass out on my desk, and when I woke up, it's like, oh, time to go to work. Like it's another day, and I look at my homework, I'm like, I haven't get anything done.
Couldn't get it done, huh? Yeah. And then what about the people around you? Did they say anything?
No, they don't say anything. People around me think that I grew up very quiet. They think that that's who I am, that's how I was born with. I'm just a quiet person. I just don't talk much. And I don't hear people talk about depression, that, oh, I'm depressed, or if you are depressed, so you need help and this and that. I don't hear people talk about depression in people who are surrounding me. I don't hear them talk about it. Yeah. So, and I don't know what's going on with me, so it's hard for me to talk about it too. Yeah. That's
right, because like when we don't know that that is a thing, then it's just like, okay, this is how we feel every day. Yeah. And then you don't know how well you can feel, or like if it's going to be worse. So you used to be a quiet person?
Oh gosh, very quiet, shy. I have anxiety too. I don't talk to people. Yeah. I don't mingle in the crowd. I'm a loner.
So you have to be watching people on the side?
Yeah. And if I go somewhere, someday people ask me to go in the front, I would stay in the very back. That used to be me, yes.
And then, so when you're thinking back, right now you're feeling so much better, but when you're thinking back, what could be the reason that you develop a depression situation?
I mean, it's a lot because I came from a refugee background. So refugee background is life is difficult. I think for me, the one reason is that because I'm very sensitive and I think a lot, and like things that happen around me, it made me think. And I think also I blame things a lot. Like I will ask questions like, why does this happen to me? This is not fair. Why do I have to run civil war? Why do I have to be poor? Why do I have to grow up in refugee camp? It's a lot of like, I don't know, blaming or.
But you kept wondering why these happened to you.
Yeah. And and that made me very quiet since I was a kid, and it goes step by step until I was in college, and that's how it get worst.
Got it. I also know that your parents used to work a lot. So
my parents works a lot, because my dad he has something going in his brain, something like a worm egg is in his brain. So that happened in Burma. Okay. He ate some food, and after that he collapsed. He got a seizure, and since then, that happened when he was 14. And since then, that affected him his whole life. So like he cannot work. That's why when we came to USA, that's why the doctor said he cannot work, he cannot drive, he cannot do anything. And think because that's what happened with my dad through our whole life. Also, my mom works a lot. My dad works when he can. At the same time, my mom works a lot because she works a lot with 5 kids and also taking care of my dad when he was sick. So I think that give her stomach pain too. Later on, I watched her suffer with that for a long time.
Did anybody in your family have depression?
I'm not sure. It's like a culture thing, like Asian cultural. We're all about like events. We're, how do you say it? Collective.
Yes. Collectivism.
We we are in a big crowd. We don't know. I don't know about you, but especially in my culture, my background, that's what I see around me. People are not vulnerable. They don't talk about their feelings, their emotion. I see other guy who they would, if they need to talk about their emotions, stuff like that, they don't. But when they're drunk, they let it all out. And when they're not drunk, and they will talk about it maybe a little bit, then they joke out of it. Yes. To make themselves feel better. And I think that they don't know how to be vulnerable and how to talk about their problem. So not that I'm aware of it, but I think there is like struggle, a lot of struggle, or I think that we just don't know how to talk about it.
And I think you brought out a very good point about drinking. The man will be drinking as a release of stress. But, I did a class in addiction, and then I also had an episode talking to a therapist about addiction. So addictive behaviors are also mental health issues. It's not just because they like to drink and then they become addicted. It's also a lot of people, they have these behaviors because it's a kind of coping mechanism. Wow. So whether it's smoking, drinking, drug use, or whatever addictions, or even gambling, that's kind of the surface behavior to reflect what is actually deep down inside. So if any listeners are going through any addictive behaviors, or your family or friends, I think it is very important to kind of have that awareness. It's not just a habit. And also it's just like I think you also have seen different people coping with their stress, their depression, and all that. You started feeling depressed when you're kind of like became worse, right? In college. Then how long was that whole journey?
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Many years. It progressed, the older I get, I think. And another one is that me, like coming from a refugee background, in civil war, it's like, I don't belong anywhere. So it's me finding myself in me, like, where do I belong, who I am, where do I fit in? And I think that started in refugee camp, but it was just like a small thing. Me started with me be quiet, very quiet person, and a lot of thinking in my head. And that progress until I came to USA. And USA is like, I'm learning a language, a whole new world, very different. I don't speak the language either, so it's I'm like, why am I living? Why am I here? What's the point? So if I don't know who I am, all that, then why live? Why not just kill myself? Like,
so you were suicidal at some point.
Wow. I was too. Like the thought of killing myself in my mind is normal. Like for me, it's like that happened in college.
I know that you finished your junior college, so it's like 2 years.
I went to CCD, Community College at Denver. Yes, I finished my associate there. And after that, I worked and I saved up money for a year or so. And then I went to Bible college for 3 years. That's why I'm thinking to go back to Metro to finish my bachelor degree. And I had all my credits transferred from CCD to Metro. Got it.
Will you say the period of your depression is at least 5 years?
Maybe, yes. Maybe.
How did you get better?
Well, I don't have the will anymore. For me, it's like, I didn't know how to talk to people, and I didn't know I was depressed. And I know when I was depressed when I was in college, because I failed all my classes, and I was like, how did I get here? And I start searching things online, and I start seeing all the symptoms that they talk about depression. I have them, and that's how my mind was like. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm depressed. I didn't know until now. Like, why am I so tired? Why am I thinking so much? Why am I thinking about like try to kill myself? All those things like flooded in my head, and that's how I realized I'm depressed. And that's when So depression has like different stages of depression and different kind of depression. For me, at that point, I'm in a point where like I don't have the will to live anymore.
Okay.
And also I have this pain that I felt inside of me that is like it was so painful. I don't know how to. I think also it's spiritual too, like darkness, spiritual warfare. I don't know how to explain it, but I felt this pain, this loneliness, this emptiness. It's so painful. I don't know what else, how to explain it. This loneliness and emptiness, like it doesn't matter like if I'm around people or I'm around family. Like the more I'm around family, I feel even more depressed. I'm more empty.
Wow.
And that feeling, it hit me, like it come and go. And when it come, each time it increases.
So it got worse and worse.
It was, and to the point that I was like, okay, the only way for me to get rid of this is like to kill myself. And if I live with it, I cannot endure it. So there's one time it came back again. That feeling, it came back again. It was the time when I was cooking in the kitchen. I was chopping cabbage because my mom went to work and she's about to come back. And I was like in my head, so I need to cook for her to get prepared for her before she come back, so she will be tired. So I was chopping the cabbage and I felt that pain again, and I could not endure it. So I just walk around the kitchen and I was okay. And in my head, it's like you can end it, you know, like there's a knife there. I'm like chopping veggies, so there's a knife there. And also in my other head or something that I don't know how to explain it. This is the best way I can explain it, is tell me that, you know, I have a plan, a purpose for you, you know. The other side is like, you can end this pain right now. And the other side is like, I have a plan for you. And part of me, like, I don't have the will to live anymore, but part of me is like, I want to know and to see this plan, what it is, you know. And then it take me, it's in that moment, you know, I feel like I have a choice to choose like death or to choose life. And then I would just walk around the kitchen and I was like, hey, God, help me. And back then I called out to God so many times, but nothing happened. I don't know why. But in that moment, I feel like it also gave me, because all what happened with my life, also I feel like I was angry with God. I blamed God for everything too. And in that moment, even though I called out to God in the past, I didn't hear anything. In that moment, I feel like I need to humble my heart. And for me to humble my heart, it's like I knelt down on the floor and I pray. And I'm like, God, please help me. Take this pain away from me. And then after that, I go back and cook. And then
did you feel the pain going away, or
I go back and I cook, like I just try to get things out of my mind to distract myself with the pain. But then it didn't feel like it go right away, like so quickly. But I feel like it does, like slowly it go away. And then after that, I didn't feel that pain that, you know, come back and go, and each time come back it increases. I don't feel that anymore from that time.
Just after that incident, that day.
Yes.
Like your pain and the dark thoughts just left.
Okay. That deep pain that I was feeling, like really the loneliness, the emptiness. It's like the more how do I say it? The emptier I feel in me, is get very painful. It gets so painful. I don't know how to
how to describe
like in a better way or word.
And when was that?
Maybe I was around like maybe 21.
Okay.
Yes.
So like when you were still in Bible college?
No, I meant community college in Denver.
Got it. Okay.
I think
So then you go to Bible college. I thought that happened in your Bible college, but no, actually it's before that.
And that's how my spiritual journey started, and that's how I choose to go to Bible college. I have the desire to go to Bible college later on.
Because? Like you felt like God is real?
oh yeah, God became so real to me. Like I cannot deny him anymore. Like after that, I have the hunger to know God, and after that, my head, all the knowledge that I know about God and Jesus, it connected the dot. It makes sense to me. Like for me in that moment, it makes sense that why Jesus has to die for my sins, why Jesus is God, why Jesus is the only way, why Jesus said you must be born again. So yeah, those things started to make sense to me. Yeah, that's when my spiritual journey started.
That is so eye-opening. But seriously, because I didn't know your story, so this is also my first time hearing it. I just know roughly that you had a journey, but then it's like, so you didn't go to any doctors, didn't take any medication.
When I found out that I have depression, I went to a doctor, and I think not all the time that I look so depressed, like there's a lot of people there's a lot of people in the United States, they're so depressed, but you cannot tell by looking at them. And when I went to a doctor, this doctor is very nice. I think maybe I don't meant to be, like going through this process with a doctor, because God knows he will heal me, So I went to him and I told him I sleep like 40 hours a day. And he was like, oh, you're fine. You're healthy. Don't worry about it. Then I was like, okay, well, if you're a doctor, somebody who sleeps 40 hours a day is not normal. Then I came home, I feel very hopeless. And then that's how like I had to search out for God. And I was like, okay, God, you're the only one who can help me. And if I think back, if I had to go through that process of see a doctor, medication, therapy, it would take a long process.
Yes.
But with that healing, that miraculous healing that God healed me, I didn't have to go through any of that.
What would you want to say to those people who are probably struggling with mental health issues or depression?
I think that you had to look at the root. What causes it? Like how did you start develop those symptoms? And I think that my mentality is when I was depressed, I think that, oh, nobody understands me. Nobody is going through the things that I am going through. I'm alone, and and that's not true, because when I start talking about my depression, actually it was very embarrassing in the beginning for me to talk about my depression. It took me a while to talk about it. So I would say, don't be embarrassed. If you need help, then talk about it, and don't think that you are the only one who is going through this. Many people like older than us, or in the many generation ahead of us, they went through this, depression. I would say talk to somebody. And one thing about people who are so depressed, that's one thing that I don't like, when people, they are seeking help and people talk to them. It's like they're so into their mind that the person who is trying to talk to them, try to help them, they're not getting through to them. It's very hard, because everything that they're telling that person who is feeling depressed, it's like it's not going through their mind. Their mind is somewhere else. It's like that. And in that case, the other person who's trying to help feel very tired too.
Because some of the people who try to help those people with depression is just to tell, like, oh, get better, or you can do this, sleep less, and then get up and do something. But it's actually not helping people with depression, because it's also a brain issue.
Yeah, it's a brain issue too.
Yeah, so it's not like they can control.
Yeah, it's the mental thing. Like for me, I feel like my mind was like controlling me.
Yes.
And I think negative, and that brought, like it how do I say it developed symptoms into my body. It affected my body.
Yeah, like mental going to physical.
Yeah.
So talking to people who were helpful during those times for you.
For me,
did you talk to people?
I don't talk to people until
until you were healed.
Yeah, I got healed for a while because people around me, they don't know. They think that, okay, that's me, that's the norm, that's the normal me. They would never think that I'm depressed. And for me, I don't know, and I don't know how to talk about it. And people around me, I don't hear them talk about depression, so I don't know how to get help, or I don't know how to talk about it. The only person that I feel like, even though I'm angry at him, is God, even though I blame him for everything, I'm angry at him. At the same time, I feel like I still give him a chance, like to work on me, to help me. I still and because coming from a background when you're so angry at God, it take me to humble my heart, to call out to him, to help me out, so yes.
Have you ever thought about abandoning God? It's like, God, I'm done with you.
I think maybe in some point, and also some point for me, the more I don't get help from other people around me, I feel like they don't understand me. I keep going to God again and again. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like God is the only one who can help me, And
probably
and
he will
see
help.
And understand all of it, when nobody else can see. He can know the deep things of me. Yes. He understands better than anybody else. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I feel like it. So I kept going back to him again and again, even though I feel hopeless, or I'm angry, or I'm like, oh God, why do you let all of these things happen to me?
Yeah. It sounds like you wrestle with God for a long time.
Yes, for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any of these dark thoughts can't come back after you were healed?
Yes, definitely it come back. But I never felt like so negative as when I was in deep depression.
So you never went down low, huh?
It definitely come back. It tried to come back. Yeah. And people with the depression, they talk about, I don't know if you ever heard of it, talk about a shadow, a dark shadow following them around, or it's with them. And for me, when I do feel like it's tried to come back, and that's why I felt that shadow, that darkness tried to come back to me, for me to feel that deep depressed again. But which is like, no, like that time I started to know who I am in Christ, like my identity in Christ. So like someday a side of me like tried to resist it, like, no, I do not want you anymore. Like it's also spiritual too. Yes. I can't completely explain it, but
that is a very big and heartfelt story. Anything you want to say before we end here?
It's, I would say, depression is big. You had to again look back to your root, what causing it, and you can do all the things that you want to do to because I tried that too. When I found out that I had depression, I tried to go to gym, I tried to be around people, and it's not working. It can work for a moment, then it get worse. So for me, Jesus, God, can help you to truly heal you, and it is different with everybody else. For me, that healing is, it lasts forever, like I don't have to deal with it again. Of course, my mind could be negative, I'm stressed, but I never go back to that deep depression again. So I would just say, I'm sorry if you're depressed. I know how that feels. You're not alone. I've been through that, and I came out of it, and you can too. So talk to people. Don't live in your own bubble, your own world, and don't be afraid to talk to people, to speak up either, and be wise about who you're talking to too. Like make sure that they can help you, and they'll give you a proper help, because some people will be like, oh, you're thinking negative, just think positive, and your mind is like so strong, you can try all that too. It's coming back negative and negative again. I think that give God a chance, most importantly, like give God a chance. Yes.
Do you want to be found by listeners?
Like my Facebook or stuff
something
like that,
or social media or email?
I mean, I don't know. Sure. Yeah, sure. If they want to talk about it, I would love to hear their story, their journey. I can talk to them,
Yeah. How can they find you? Which one do you want to provide?
You can email me at pawku714@gmail.com. That's my email. And also my social media is, oh my gosh.
It's okay. We'll just stop there.
Yeah.
I can put it in the episode now.
No, because
so
my social media has like Pawkuology.
So
it's not like my real name. So I'm like, I don't want to say it.
That's okay. I will just put it in the episode notes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming, Pawku.
Thank you for having me. I hope that can help people out there who's listening, and you can give hope to my story.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Chai with Ping. If you think someone will benefit from this episode, don't forget to share it with them. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. If you like my show, you can buy me some chai with small donations. Details are in the episode notes. Till next time.
What should I say? I don't know.
Coming from an emotional roller coaster, huh?